Okay, guys, I'm just going to kind of go over a couple word equations just to make sure that we're clear on it, because I guess learning check is based on word equations and then skeleton equations. So I'll do a quick video on word equations and then one on skeleton. So what we want to basically be able to do here is we want to be able to take this sentence, okay, and we want to be able to take this sentence and write it out in the form of a chemical equation. So we're going to have, something plus something leads to something, and in this case there's two things. Okay, so what we want to be able to do is we want to take this sentence and be able to write it out in words. Now we're going to keep it in words. Okay, we're going to be using the words calcium hydroxide. We're going to identify all these chemicals. So all the chemicals that we have here we should be able to identify. So let's go through this. So we've got calcium hydroxide is one, lithium is one, lithium hydroxide is one, and calcium is one. So we basically have to be able to put these into an equation. Now remember, on this side of the reaction arrow, so if I take the reaction arrow, these are going to be the reactants, and on the right side, these are going to be the products. So we have to make sure that we can identify which one's the reactants and which one's the products. Okay, so now we have to kind of break down this wording. So when we look at the wording, we're saying calcium hydroxide combines with. Now this is the key word here, that it's combining with. So when you have the word combines with, what that's implying is that you're taking calcium hydroxide and mixing it with lithium. Well, these are the reactants. This is what you're combining together to get a reaction to happen. So these two things are going to be on the reactant side, calcium hydroxide and lithium. And then it says it's going to produce. So producing, you always produce products. Okay, that's where the PROD comes from, products and produce. So we're going to produce lithium hydroxide and calcium. Okay, so I'm just going to erase what I have here for a second, and we are going to kind of just write this out a little bit better here. Make this a little bigger. Okay. So once I have this all erased, now we want to be able to write this out in the format that we want. Okay. So what we're going to have here, if we want to write this out, we're going to say calcium hydroxide plus lithium. Okay, these are the two reactants. Arrow, and I'm just kind of running out of room here, but we'd all run it on one line. Arrow is going to produce two things. What is it going to produce? It's going to produce lithium hydroxide and calcium. Okay, so this is what I want. This is a word equation. What we've done is we've taken a sentence and put it into a word equation. So let's do one before. It's a little bit different wordings here. Okay. So it says here, when I have hydrochloric acid is added to sodium hydroxide, sodium chloride and water are produced. Now this isn't the exact same sentence. I was going to be able to break this down. Okay, so let's take a look at here and we say, okay, hydrochloric acid is one chemical. It's being added to sodium hydroxide. So last time it said it's being combined with. Well, this is just another word of saying combined with. You're mixing these two things together. So hydrochloric acid is added to sodium hydroxide. These are going to be my reactants. And then it says, and there should be a comma here, that sodium chloride and water are produced. So these are the two things that are produced. Hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide are the two things that are being reacted together. So if we want to write this out, I'm going to kind of write it out in maybe even a smaller one this time. So we want to write this out as hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide leads to sodium chloride plus water. Okay? And again, I know I asked you to also label the reactants and products, so if we wanted to be able to do that, these are my reactants, always on the left side of the arrow sign, and then these over here are going to be my products. Okay, so I hope this helps. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll do a similar video for skeleton equations, which are a little bit trickier.